So anyways, okay, here's what came out today. So this is called an arrest affidavit. And what that is it's just enough to get an arrest. So we're going to be waiting for more information. Let me know what you think. The below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is a duly appointed, qualified, and acting peace officer within the County of Latah, State of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by the Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal and has been trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. Corporal Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department, Sergeant Blaker and I responded to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, hereafter the King Road residence, to assist with the scene, security, and processing of a crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. MPD Officer OFC Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. OFC Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. OFC Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. OFC Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Kernodle's, hereafter Kernodle room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined. Autopsy provided by Spokane, and then it's redacted. So his specific wounds, Ethan's specific wounds, are redacted. Let me get to where it's not redacted anymore. So they redacted the autopsy results. I then followed OFC Smith upstairs to the third floor residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Goncalves, hereafter Goncalves room. I later learned from review of Officer Nunez's body camera that there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to Goncalves and her ex-boyfriend Jack DeCoeur. I found out from my interview with Jack DeCoeur on November 13, 2022, that he and Goncalves shared the dog. OFC Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. The bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogen, hereafter Mogen bedroom, which was situated in the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Goncalves and Mogen were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath on the bed next to Mogen's right side when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had CUBAR, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA suspect profile left on the bottom snap of the knife sheath. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews included BF and DM. Both BF and DM, which are Bethany and Dylan, the female roommates, were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victims. BF's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. Based on numerous interviews conducted by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as a review of my evidence, I have learned the following. On the evening of November 12th, 2022, Chapin and Kernodle are seen by Bethany Frankel, or they call her BF, at the Sigma Chi House on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. BF, which is Bethany, also estimated that approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. Bethany Frankel also stated that Chapin did not live in the King Road residence, but was a guest of Kernodle. Goncalves and Mogen were at a local bar, the Corner Club, at 202 North Main Street in Moscow. Goncalves and Mogen can be seen on a video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 p.m. on November 12th and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:30 a.m., Goncalves and Mogen can be seen on the video at a local vendor called the Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. The video was captured by law enforcement. A private party reported that he provided a ride to Goncalves and Mogen at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF, which is Dylan and Bethany, the surviving roommates, both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were home by 2 a.m. and asleep, or at least in their rooms, by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. Dylan stated that originally she went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. Dylan stated that she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Goncalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, Dylan said she heard what she thought Goncalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed that this could have also been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated that she was likely awake and using TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Dylan stated that she looked out of her bedroom, but she could not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. Dylan stated that she opened her door a second time when she heard that what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. Dylan said she then heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. Dylan stated that she opened her door a third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood frozen in shock. The male walked toward the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not recognize the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. The combination of Dylan's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from Bethany and Dylan's phone, and a video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to a pattern of a Vans type shoe sole just outside the door of Dylan's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with Dylan's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvass, was conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspect or suspect's vehicle traveling or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvass resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 p.m. On this vehicle, it appears suspect vehicle was not displaying a front license plate. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1, starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave from Walenta Drive. Based off my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit the area during this time frame. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time at approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 King Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. Vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame, I believe that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect Vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilized surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a crime. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years of law enforcement experience, with 12 years at the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect Vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that suspect Vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is 2011 to 2016 white Hyundai Elantra. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra, known as suspect vehicle number 1, was observed on a WSU surveillance camera traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan consistent with the description of the white Elantra, known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards SR 270. SR 270 connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. This camera footage in Pullman, Washington was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on Washington State University campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270. Excuse me. At approximately 5:27 a.m., the white Elantra was observed on camera traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way. And then they show a picture, like an aerial picture of a map. So if you want to look it up online, they have photos. Maybe I can try to grab them and put them on there. Photos of his route. On November 25th, 2022, MPD asked area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for a white Hyundai Elantra in the area. On November 29, 2022, at approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington State University police officer Daniel Tiengo queried white Elantras registered at WSU. As a result of that query, he located a 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate LFZ-8649. This vehicle was registered to Bryan Kohberger, hereafter Kohberger, residing at 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment 201, Pullman, Washington. Oh, remember I said he lives across the valley? Okay, I'm seeing across the valley. Isn't that funny? I mean, nothing's funny, but, looking at the clues. Okay, 1630 Northeast Valley Road is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way. And that is the last camera that picked up the white Elantra. That same day at 12:58 a.m., WSU Officer Curtis Whitman was looking for a white Hyundai Elantra and located a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra at 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman in the parking lot. 1630 Northeast Valley Road is an apartment complex that houses WSU students. Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Kohberger with a Washington tag. But remember, see, he still had the Pennsylvania plates on there. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington State driver license information and photograph. This license indicates that Kohberger is a white male with a height of 6 feet and 185 pounds. So you remember I did say he was 6 feet. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Kohberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male Dylan saw inside the King Road residence on November 13th. I'm so glad she's alive. Oh, she's so lucky to be alive. Okay, here we go. Further investigation, including a review of Latah County Sheriff's Deputy CPL Duke's body cam and reports, showed that on August 21st, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho, by CPL Duke. At the time, Kohberger, who was the sole occupant, was driving a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate LFZ 8649, which was set to expire on November 30th, 2022. During the stop, which was recorded from a law enforcement body camera, Kohberger provided his phone number as blankety blankety blank, which means it's partly deleted, hereafter known as 8458, those are the last four numbers of his phone, as his cellular telephone number. Investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that the 8458 phone number was issued by AT&T. On October 14th, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop by a WSU police officer. On review of that body cam and report of the stop, Kohberger was the sole occupant and was driving with a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate LFZ 8649. And this idiot thought he was so smart, but I'm going to leave my commentary to the end. On November 18th, 2022, according to Washington State Licensing, Kohberger registered the 2015 white Elantra with Washington and later received a Washington plate, CFB 8708. Prior to this time, the 2015 white Elantra was registered in Pennsylvania, which does not require a front license plate to be displayed. This was learned through communication with a Pennsylvania officer who is currently certified in the state of Pennsylvania. Based on my experience and communication with law enforcement, I know that Idaho and Washington require front and back license plates to be displayed. Investigators believe that Kohberger is still driving the 2015 white Elantra because his vehicle was captured on December 13th, 2022 by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado. Kohberger's Elantra was then queried on December 15th, 2022 by law enforcement in Hancock County, Indiana. On December 16th, 2022, at approximately 2:26 p.m., surveillance video showed that Kohberger's Elantra in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Kohberger. Kohberger has family in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. Learned through a TLO search and locate tool database query. Based on information provided on the Washington State University website, Kohberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also showed that Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Did you just hear that? I gotta repeat this. These records also show that Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Kohberger wrote in his essay that he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technical data in public safety operations. Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found in open source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information on understanding how emotions and psychological traits influence decision making when committing a crime. As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilized cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence on November 13th between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. After determining that Kohberger was associated to both the 2015 white Elantra and the 8458 phone, investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. A query of the 8458 phone in these returns did not show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 a.m. Bottom of page 11. As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilized cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence on November 13th, 2022, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. After determining that Kohberger was associated to both the 215 white Elantra and the 8458 phone, investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. A query of the 8458 phone in these returns did not show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Based on my training, experience, and conversations with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cellular telephone records as part of investigations, individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at a different location before committing a crime, or turn their cellular telephone off prior to going to a location to commit a crime. This is done by subjects in an effort to avoid alerting law enforcement that a cellular device associated with them was in a particular area when a crime was committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, subjects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the date of the crime. Depending on the circumstances, this could be done a few days before or for several months prior to the commission of a crime. What they're talking about is stalking, the issue of did he stalk them. During these types of surveillance, it is possible that an individual would not leave their cellular telephone at a separate location or turn it off since they do not plan to commit the offense on that particular day. On December 23rd, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12th, 2022 at 12 a.m. and November 14th at 12 a.m. for the 8458 phone by the phone provider AT&T, which is approximately 24 hours preceding and following the times of the homicides. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to that search warrant, I received the records for 8458 phone from AT&T. These records indicated that the 8458 phone is subscribed to Bryan Kohberger at an address in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and then the account has been open since June 23rd, 2022. These records also included historical cell site location information for the 8458 phone. After receiving this information, I consulted with an FBI special agent that is certified as a member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team known as CAST. Members of CAST are certified with the FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI and are required to pass extensive training that includes both written and practical examinations prior to be certified with CAST, as well as the completion of yearly certification requirements. Additionally, the FBI CAST SA that I consulted with has over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, which includes 6 years with the FBI. From information provided by CAST, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from November 12th, 2022 to November 13th, 2022, the time period authorized by the court. On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 2:42 a.m., the 8458 phone was utilizing cellular resources that provided coverage to 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment G201, Pullman, Washington, hereafter known as the Kohberger residence. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the 845 phone utilized cellular resources that provided coverage southeast of the Kohberger residence, consistent with the 8458 phone, leaving the Kohberger residence and traveling south through Pullman, Washington. This is consistent with the movement of the white Elantra. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the 8458 phone stops reporting to the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without cellular coverage, the connection to the network disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or the phone turned off. The 8458 phone does not report to the network again until approximately 4:48 a.m., at which time it has utilized cellular resources that provided coverage to Idaho State Highway 95 south of Moscow, Idaho, near Blaine, Idaho, north of Genesee. Between 4:50 a.m. and 5:26 a.m., the phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling south on Idaho State 95 to Genesee, Idaho, and then traveling west towards Uniontown, Idaho, and then north back into Pullman, Washington. At approximately 5:38 a.m., the 8458 phone is utilizing resources that provide coverage to Pullman, Washington, and consistent with the phone traveling to the Kohberger residence. The 8458 phone's movements are consistent with the movements of the white Elantra that is observed traveling north on Stadium Drive at approximately 5:27 a.m. Based on a review of the 8458 phone's estimated locations and travel, the 8458 phone's travel is consistent with that of the white Elantra. Further review indicated that the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th, 2022 that are consistent with the 8458 phone leaving the area of the Kohberger residence at approximately 9 a.m. and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. I'm going to repeat that. Further review indicated that the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13, 2022 that are consistent with the 8458 phone leaving the area of the Kohberger residence at approximately 9 a.m. and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. Specifically, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. Let me read that again. Specifically, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m., and that is on November 13th. The 8458 phone next utilized cellular resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling back to the area of the Kohberger residence and arriving to the area at 9:32 a.m. Below is a depiction, not to scale, of the possible route taken based off cellular site locations. And then there's photos. So I'm going to try to put them, or else you can look it up. It looks like a big circle. Investigators found that the 8458 phone did connect to a cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow on November 14th, 2022. But investigators do not believe the 8458 phone was in Moscow on that date. The 8458 phone has not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Based on my training, experience, and the facts of the investigation thus far, I believe that Kohberger, the user of the 8458 phone, was likely the driver of the white Elantra that is observed departing Pullman, Washington, and that this vehicle is likely suspect vehicle 1. Additionally, the route of travel of the 8458 phone during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, and the lack of the 8458 phone reporting to AT&T between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. is consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred at the King Road residence. I want to read that one more time. Additionally, the route of travel of the 8458 phone during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, and the lack of the 8458 phone reporting to AT&T between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. is consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred at the King Road residence. That's the bottom of 15, and there's 4 more pages. Okay. On December 23rd, 2022, I was granted a search warrant for Kohberger's historical CSLI from June 23rd, 2022 to current prospective location information, and a pen register trap and trace on the 8458 phone to aid in efforts to determine if Kohberger stalked any of the victims in the case prior to the offense, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, was in contact with any of the victims associated before or after the alleged offense, any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13th, 2022, the location of the white Elantra registered to Kohberger, as well as the location of Kohberger. This guy did a lot of work, huh? Okay. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to that search warrant, I received historical records for the 8458 phone from AT&T from the time the account was opened in June of 2022. After consulting with CAST SA, which I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from June 22 to present, the time period authorized by the court. The records for the 8458 phone show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13th, 2022. Woohoo! Woohoo! The records for the 8458 phone show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to the area of the 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13, 2022. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. Stalker, stalker, stalker. He's a stalker. Makes me so mad. On these occasions, on August 21st, 2022, well, that's how long he'd been stalking them. Look at this. One of these occasions, August 21st, 2022, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources, providing coverage to the King Road residents from approximately 10:34 to 11:35 p.m. So he sat outside their house for all that time. At approximately 11:37 p.m., Kohberger was stopped by Latah County Sheriff's Deputy CPL Duke, as mentioned above. The 8548 phone was utilizing cellular resources consistent with the location of the traffic stop during this time, which was at Farm Road and Pullman Highway. So they're showing that, yes, he's using this phone. This is the phone that tracks him. And on at least 12 occasions, he was scouting out their house. Further analysis of this cellular data provided showed that 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th, 2022, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho from US 195. At approximately 12:36 p.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand located at 810 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage from the U.S. Chef store located at 820 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington, and adjacent to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee showed a white Elantra consistent with suspect vehicle 1 drive past Kate's Cup of Joe at a time consistent with the cellular data from the 8458 phone. At approximately 12:46 p.m., the 8458 phone then utilized cellular data in the area of Albertsons grocery store at 400 Bridge Street in Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage obtained from the Albertsons shows Kohberger exited the white Elantra consistent with suspect vehicle at approximately 12:49 p.m. Interior surveillance cameras showed Kohberger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at the checkout, and leave at 1:04 p.m. And then they have another photo of Kohberger's travel. And I'm probably going to just upload this without putting all these photos in, but I'll put up another one kind of showing all these routes. Okay, we've got 2 more pages. Additional analysis of records for the 8458 phone indicated between approximately 5:32 and 5:36 p.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to Johnson, Idaho. The 8458 phone then stops reporting to the network from approximately 5:36 p.m. to 8:38 p.m. That is consistent with the 8458 phone being the area that the 8458 phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspect time the homicides occurred. This is consistent. So all this traveling around, what they're saying is, summarized, this is consistent with the 8458 phone, which belongs to Kohberger. I'm adding that in. Being in the area that the 8458 phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time of the homicides. Oh, okay. I know what he's doing. Right? Woo-hoo, hiding his trophies, probably. Okay. On December 27th, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family residence located in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. That evidence was sent to the Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28th, 2022, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath, remember the knife sheath that he left at the scene, identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect profile. At least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. Based on the above information, I am requesting an arrest warrant to be issued for Bryan C. Kohberger, date of birth November 21, 1994. So he did this for his own birthday present. That's what he did, probably. That was one of the reasons. I mean, you can assume. There's nobody saying that. And I'm not saying that psychically. I'm just saying his birthday. He did this a week before his birthday. What a jerk. Okay, let me just finish. Based on the above information, I am requesting an arrest warrant to be issued for Bryan C. Kohberger, date of birth November 21st, 1994, for burglary at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho, and 4 counts of murder in the first degree for the murders of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. I declare, under penalty of perjury, pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho, that the foregoing is true and correct. dated 12/29/2022. And I know I said his name at the beginning. I can't, there's no page 19 in here. Let me get to the top and tell you his name again. I can't read his signature. Let's see here. Brett Payne. Good job, Brett Payne. Good job. So you guys tell me what you think. So just so you understand, an arrest affidavit doesn't give all the information they have. It only gives enough to get the arrest. When the court system goes back and forth, it's not a game, but like poker, you don't show your whole hand. You show the least you can to get what you need. So, and then there'll be the different hearings depending on the different states. Like in California, there's what's called a 995 hearing where the police have to turn over everything they have. And then after that, there's a preliminary hearing. So I don't know how Idaho works, but I know for sure they have a preliminary hearing and they still won't turn over at that point. They turn it over to the defense and the defense knows the evidence. But at the preliminary hearing, they put on kind of a mini trial. And the only standard that they're trying to meet at the preliminary hearing is enough for the judge to say, yes, I believe there's enough evidence here to hold a trial. That's all that they have to put forward at the preliminary hearing. And then it's at the final trial when we finally see all the information. So tell me what you think in the comments. Prayers for the victims and their families. And when I did the reading for the friend of Xana Kernodle the other day, it really struck me how much trauma these suspects were in, as well as, remember, I was also talking about Dylan and being concerned about the amount of trauma that she's, at least they presented to me in that reading, is more than the human mind could bear. And just prayers, and real prayers, not just saying it, but all you really have to do, no matter what religion you are, and if you're no religion at all, ask for love to fill your body, to be used by God to transmit love and send it not only to the families in the community, but send it to the victims. Send love to Maddie. Send love. Visualize Maddie encompassed in love. Visualize Xana encompassed in love. Visualize Ethan encompassed in love. Visualize Kaylee surrounded in beautiful white light. Just all of them, just send them love. Light a candle and with your intention, send them love. That's another way you can do it. And they can actually feel that energetic, swarming cloud of love going to them. And that is very real. And I know that as a spiritualist. So anyways, okay, here's what came out today. So this is called an arrest affidavit. And what that is it's just enough to get an arrest. So we're going to be waiting for more information. Let me know what you think. This is how YouTube works. Please, if you like what you see, the content, subscribe to my channel and push the little notification bell. And it might give you a menu that says notify every time. So be notified of uploads. I'm going to be covering this case pretty intently. The reason for that is when I did that original reading, it was so shocking to me because I do kind of a very deep level trance where my consciousness leaves my body and they put my consciousness literally like a foot behind the suspects. And as he walked up to that house, and as he went into that kitchen sliding door, and as he murdered those people, I was receiving his thoughts, his feelings, and his desires. And I just became absolutely obsessed. I actually was so scared, even living 1,000 miles away. Like, I have kept my back door dead bolted until a suspect was arrested. And I was sleeping lightly because I knew that, they're always in these groups. These killers are always in these groups. And this one likes hunting humans. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you leave any comment and you hit the like button, then YouTube will recommend my channel and my video to new people. So thank you very much for joining me today with this reading of the affidavit for the arrest of Bryan Kohberger. All right, take care. This is Reverend Donna Seraphina signing off. Hi, everybody. I am Reverend Donna Seraphina. I'm a legally ordained spiritualist reverend and a psychic medium. On November 18th, I did the first reading on the case of the Idaho college students who were murdered. I gave a description of a man who had approached Kaylee in what I later figured out was most likely Friendship Square. Okay, it was somewhere along the main street. The description I gave of the man was that he was around 30, 6 feet tall, brown hair, a little curl in it, kind of looked Caucasian mixed with something slightly Mediterranean ethnic, wearing a black hoodie, later shoe size 10, 11, that he wore a camouflage jacket or shirt going up to the house, that he was wearing black shoes or boots, that he was likely a size 10 or 11 shoe, and that he left town, which he later left town by the time they found him, and a couple other things. And if you want to hear the whole reading, just go on to my YouTube channel, check my video page. The upload is November 22nd, and see what comes from there. Now, you're probably going to be wondering, well, what about the guy with the red hair? Okay, because right now the police are saying, oh, he was a lone wolf. He acted alone. He may have acted alone within the murder house. I don't know. I'm going to be doing a couple more readings. But I believe there's a connection. I believe that he engaged with somebody who has red hair, who also helped him kind of I spy, look out the house and stuff like that. So that will be to come. But right now I'm going to give you some little clips that very accurately show that I was describing Bryan Kohberger, the man who was just arrested for the murder of these young people. He's a criminology PhD student and a psychopath. Here it is. You tell me what you think in the comments. Oh, if you could please subscribe, please share my videos out. I want to grow this channel this year. That will help me. And my goal for 2023 is to speak the truth, to let you know what's actually going on rather than the hype and the stories that are put out there. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll see you on the other side. All right, take care. I love you all. Bye. They're showing me his shoes again. They're definitely what he would wear hunting, but they're black. They're not those tan kind. Say his foot size is 10 or 11 or something. I don't know. Had a tiny bit of spirit energy. Okay, they're showing me one of the blonde girls now. I can tell them apart a little bit. I think it's the one that has a little rounder face. And she's doing something. So I'm just going to follow her a minute and I'll tell you. They're just showing me her. But we're walking somewhere. We're in the main street area of that little town. I'm seeing a guy talking to her. If you put me in the mind of the killer, and then I get some spirit energy, and then I'm like, did you leave town? It feels like he drove his car there, and it feels like he parked it across the street and down 2 or 3 houses, facing away from their house, and he doesn't feel scared. He doesn't feel worried about standing out or someone seeing him. Or feels like he drives a small car too.
I have a tiny bit of spirit energy, not huge chills. Okay, let me just... I'm not sure if they're trying to show me he parked a little farther, like up the street and around the corner. But if you were facing their house and you put your arm to the right, that's the way he parked, and then around that first corner. So I feel like, is that all you want to show me right now? No? Do you want to show me more right now? They're not doing either. Is my spirit people here? Yeah, they are. Is there more to see? Yeah, they give me spirit energy. Are you guys waiting for me to clear my mind? I think where he lives, if you're looking at the house, he lives down off to the right. If you're facing their house, the 1102 house or whatever, he lives to the right of there. Down there. They give me big chills on both legs now. Does he live within a couple blocks of them? The chills kind of went away. But he lives to the right. Okay, so he lives that way. They keep showing me a cross. So they've done this like 3 times, and I didn't really say it, but besides living to the right. So here's their house. And then at some point, past everything else, where there's fields or whatever, and you can see mountains across, or giant hills, whatever you want to call them. I do not know the distinction, but whatever. Things that rise up out of the ground. Like, okay. For some reason, I'm not sure the reason, but they show me over there. They show me this. They keep showing me this. Not sure the reason. His parents know there's something off about him. Now I'm seeing the hooded guy by the truck, but I don't think it's that guy. Like, I can't I can tell them apart a little bit. I think it's the one that has a little rounder face. And she's doing something. So I'm just going to follow her a minute and I'll tell you. They're just showing me her, but we're walking somewhere. We're in the main street area of that little town. I'm seeing a guy talking to her, and he's quite a bit taller. I mean, she sits on a bench, or it really feels like if there's a tree, and I'm getting chills on my legs, if there's a tree that has a bench surrounding the tree, like, you know how they put those half-round benches around trees sometimes? He's taller, and because this guy seems like he has like if he was like 6 feet tall or something like that, a bigger build. And she's not really interested in him because so it's not that, it doesn't feel like she knows him. It doesn't feel like she's super interested in talking to him. She's definitely not interested in going out with him. Oh, he has brown hair. In fact, he looks different than the one that got killed, but he's larger size like that. And his hair is a little bit, it might have a wave in it, and it's thick, and he might be a little older. Okay, I have chills about that. He's a little older. So she doesn't totally believe, she's like wondering if he really even goes to college or not or something. He's wearing a black sweatshirt or hoodie or black. Now I'm seeing the front of the house again. It's like 11. So he feels, the energy of the guy who does this feels like, obviously he has a lot of hatred, and that's obvious, but I'm feeling his hatred right now. His hatred in general, of just feeling like, kind of like there's all this fresh candy around town, but he can't have any. And I have chills on my legs about that. Rejecting him. I asked them any clues about who he is. Now I have chills on my legs, so they're going to show me clues. The clues are, there's this tree. I'll find it. It's a tree on Main Street that has benches that circle around the tree. It's the guy that was talking to her there. This guy from Missing 411 comes in. And maybe they're trying to show me that his coloring or something is like that. Yeah, and I'm getting chills on my legs. So, see how you can't really tell what nationalities are mixed in with a lot of people, homogenous Americans. Um, it's just he has dark hair. He looks a little like that. I got chills on both legs. He looks like David Paulides. He's similar in looks to David Paulides. I got big chills on my legs. But of course, he's not David Paulides. It's just that he looks like that. Coloring wise, possibly a little face wise too. I'll be able to identify him on Facebook if I can go see him. I'll be able to identify him if he's on there. If I can track down this business, and he has no remorse or anything like that. No remorse.